Hi, I'm Lauren from LSP Actions and welcome to this tutorial. I'm going to show you how you can unzip and extract your downloaded floral files from LSP Actions and install the actions and get started if you want to use the applicator actions. There are so many video tutorials on the video tutorial library over on the LSP Actions website that can show you so many different ways of working with these florals. This tutorial is literally just unzipping, extracting and getting the files ready to use. On this example, you're going to see the Bluebells and Meadow Overlays being used, but the same goes for whichever floral botanical overlay set you've purchased from LSP Actions. It's exactly the same methods. You may have downloaded one file, you may have downloaded several. You will also have the actions to download. The actions, depending on which version of Mac or Windows you're on, the icon may look different, but the action file is a single action file. The florals are in their own zipped up files. If you're on Mac, it may be blue, it may have a different look to it. But this is a zipped file, meaning it's compressed for easy download because these are such huge files that your internet would really struggle downloading so many things at once. So I've zipped them up for easy download. If you're on a Mac, you can extract the files by double clicking or using your archive utility. If you're on Windows, you can right click and choose extract all. And then you will be able to open your file. Any trouble extracting, please go on the internet, search your operating system and followed by extracting a zip file, and you will get the answers coming up there, just if there's any problems. But generally, archive utility on Mac or right clicking on PC is the way to go. So first of all, I'm just going to show you what's inside this file. If you try and read from a zip file in Photoshop, if you try and open this up, for example here, and drag any of these over Photoshop, it's not going to work. You need to be able to use the zipped up file. And then you can drag, any of these images and you can pop them over and they're going to appear in Photoshop. But please do watch the tutorials for how to do that. You can see how easy it is. I literally just dragged and dropped the meadow foreground over the image. So now let's talk about installing the Photoshop actions. Just going to go back. The LSP Floral Framers and Branch Botanical Photoshop actions can be installed several ways into Photoshop. The best way to do it is to get your action panels up first. So with Photoshop open, come up to Window and hit Actions. If your actions are on coloured button mode, that's fine. If you're off button mode or you're using Photoshop elements, that's also fine. What you need to be able to do is to install the actions. The easiest way really is to just double click the action and that should install here at the bottom of your action panel, so it pop in. If you get anything coming up saying, what program do you want to use, we can't associate it, it's not working, anything like that, the second way of doing it is on your, you have to excuse my voice by the way, it's very croaky, I'm just recovering from laryngitis, is to come up here to the little burger menu and hit load actions, locate the actions that you've downloaded from the LSP Actions website, the ATN file, double click it and they will pop in. Any problems, you go on the LSP Actions website. Under the video library, there's an installation guide section that you can find for all Photoshop actions. If you're in Photoshop Elements, you will need to click one of the actions to play it, and there'll be a play button at the top. On full versions of Photoshop, you click the action and then you hit the play button down here. The first action you'd want to play is apply a floral framer. So you hit this one. Hit play, you locate your unzipped file, not the zipped up file, the one that you've extracted already manually, and then you can choose which overlays to do. So you literally just double click it and it pops in. If you watch the tutorials for the specific overlays you've got, it's going to show you some really good tips with working with these, but you literally just apply, drop. You can flip it if you want to by playing this action. And then you have a section underneath called Click and Edit Floral. As long as you've clicked your floral, please make sure you're on the floral, you're not on a different layer. So always click the foreground floral that you want to edit. You can lighten up by hitting play. You see there? Lightening up. You can slide the opacity on this. If you can't see your layers panel, come up to Window and hit Layers, because that means you can edit them further. You also have Darken. So you can darken the floral. I'm just going to turn that off by hitting the eye icon. You can add a contrast pop. You can add mute. And then you have some tones. The tones are better used with the more the studio florals. So think the more single toned florals. If you've got something very colourful like this, you can play a beige toner and it's going to kind of wash them all out. You can do that if it suits your image just fine, but you don't feel like you have to with these. Sometimes with a bold floral, more is more. You also have warmer tangerine, lavender and cooler. And then at the bottom you have blur paint. So if you click, make sure you click the floral first, hit blur paint and hit play. It's going to bring up your Gaussian blur box. You can slide this slider until you're happy with the level of blur and hit OK. Make sure you hit stop. This is just basically little instructions come up. Say double click where it says Gaussian blur under the white smart filters box to adjust the blur more if needed. You can use a black brush on this mask to paint the blur off. So you can click here, a black brush is already selected for you and you can paint blur off anywhere you don't want it to show. You can also double click where it says Gaussian blur and you can change it a little more if you want to. So it really does allow that customization and you can turn it off by hitting the eye icon. You have some colour change layers as well. Please do watch the petal and the flower overlays for those for a little bit more in-depth use. But I'm just going to show you how you can do that. So colour change manual, I'm going to play this. Some instructions pop up. It has been selected for you. It is manual. So you see you'll have a little adjustment icon here on your layers panel. You need to double click this if you don't already see hue and saturation pop up. You can use the dropper or you can select, for example, yellows from the list and you can change it. So if you watch these yellow flowers here, we can change those. So we could make them all red, for example. We could choose blues as well. And we could bring the blues into maybe the purples. I'm just going to widen the selection on the bottom a little bit more. So we've completely changed the colours. So it really does allow ultimate customization if dragging and dropping is not enough. Generally, 99% of the time you can drag, drop and go. These literally apply in 10 seconds. But the actions give you these other options too. I'm going to come off grey editing mode and click on button mode on the actions. On the burger menu, hit button mode, drag it into a nice neat column, and your actions will be at the bottom unless you've moved them, your new actions. And on button mode, it's literally one click and go. You don't have to click play, and I've colour coded them all for you. So the first one here, this grey one, apply a floral framer. Let's choose a different one to add in. How about we go for this one here. So it's the perfect blend. You've got foreground and subject flowers. They're really, really pretty. And I think with these, let's lighten them up a little bit just to match our image. I'm going to mute the light just a touch and perhaps warm them up a little bit. Maybe even lighten up one more step, and that's it. All I've done is drag and drop, click, 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 click. Really pretty. And you can turn any of these on or off. You can adjust the opacity of any of them. For example, lighten up here, you can just click on it and drag the opacity. The opacity is how transparent it is, how strong it is. So we can just turn that one up. And that really kind of adds to that beautiful sunlight scene. I'm going to pop the muted one on as well, because this image is muted. So there we go. Just really, really easy to blend with your image, as long as you kind of just sit back for a moment, look at the scene and think, what does the floral need to blend with my image? It might blend perfectly first time. If not, the actions are here to help you. And you can add your own hand editing by coming down to the adjustment menu down here, and for example, say we want to add some curves. If you add curves to the entire image, it's going to affect the entire image. So what you want to do is right click, create a clipping mask, and it will clip this in only to your floral. See here? It's only affecting the floral layer. So I might want to add a little bit of contrast and maybe bring those blacks up a little bit just to mute it down. See there? Before and after. And that's just playing. So there are so many things you can do with these. Whichever floral set you've purchased from the LSP Actions website, you can go on the video tutorial library on the LSP Actions website under Botanicals, find the set you've purchased, and you'll see a whole host of mini tutorials there showing you some best practices, some tips, and some creative ideas you can try with using them. I can't wait to see what you do with these. Please come and tag me in the LSP Actions editing group for photographers on Facebook because I'm just really excited to see what you do.